Live from the Scripps Studios, this is 10 News.
5 more San Diego County residents have died from COVID-19. Good evening, I'm Steve Atkinson. Those who passed away, they were all in their 70s, 80s, and 90s. And to date, 15 San Diegans have died from this virus. There are now 849 local cases. Today's numbers represent a jump of 115 cases just from yesterday.
We should not prepare to bring our children back into the school setting.
And that's Governor Gavin Newsom. He confirmed today what many school districts were already preparing for. California students will not return to campuses this academic year. Our 10 News anchor Lindsay Pena spoke to San Diego Unified Superintendent about what happens next.
Front of mind for us as we're making our plans is to make sure that all students will have access to learning opportunities and not need to.
All right, we're having an issue with that story. We'll try and get back to it later on in this newscast. In the meantime, with the number of coronavirus cases surging, county health leaders say that we are entering a critical time in the month of April.
We absolutely and unequivocally believe that the month of April is the month that will determine our trajectory as a region. We believe this is the month that will determine if we end up like Italy and New York, or if we find ourselves through a better pathway and a better direction. And so the month of April, we are calling it for it to be a month of aggressive, intentional action. It is time for San Diego as a region to fully and 100% commit ourselves to the actions that are in all of our control. And the things that we do in the month of April will determine which way we go and how we meet this challenge.
That's County Supervisor Nathan Fletcher. He also says proper social distancing now gives hope that we can begin possibly returning normal by this summer. Vacant San Diego rec centers, libraries, and stadium parking lots, they are now available sites to help mitigate the surge of COVID-19 patients. Mayor Kevin Faulconer made that announcement just today, along with a stern warning that complacency in the weeks ahead could cost lives.
If we let down our guard right now, all of our sacrifices to this point could be lost.
We've done our own profiling, and if only 30% of our community sheltered in place or maintained appropriate social distancing, we could overwhelm our healthcare delivery system by June.
Mayor Faulconer also said that he spoke today with former governors Schwarzenegger, Davis, and Wilson about what steps will need to be taken to revive our economy once we get through this crisis. Governor Newsom also announced that San Diego was selected as one of several cities to get an Army field hospital. County officials are now working with the Army Corps of Engineers to iron out those details. The field hospital would have 250 beds to serve our region. The shuttered Palomar Medical Center in Escondido is slated to be turned into a 510-unit housing unit. Right now, though, it's mainly being used for behavioral needs. Palomar Health says that the medical center is in discussions right now to potentially become that field hospital. In the meantime, empty dorm rooms at UC San Diego, they are already being converted into a COVID-19 transition space.
We will create an alternate care center. This will be staffed with a combination of nurses, along with potential telemedicine connection to doctors.
The idea is to use dorms for people who still need some medical treatment but are not quite ready to go home. UCSD has also contracted with the county to provide 350 rooms in a new campus housing building that is not currently occupied by students for low-level COVID-19 patients. And hundreds of homeless San Diegans are now living inside the convention center downtown. The city opened up those doors today in an effort to stop the spread of coronavirus. Right now, there are about 400 homeless people in the convention center. Eventually, it could hold up to 1,500 people.
We can't fill our convention center with tourists, and we're going to make sure it is filled with hope, with progress, and with San Diegans who can put it to good use.
The mayor also says they will offer the same services as that exist with the bridge shelters right now, such as security, meals, showers, and health screenings. 3 people in our city shelters have already tested positive for COVID-19. Those people and others who become sick and need isolation will be housed in motels designed for quarantine. And the World Health Organization estimates the number of coronavirus cases globally could reach 1 million in just the next few days. More than 200,000 people in the U.S. have already tested positive for COVID-19. As ABC's Marcy Gonzalez reports, healthcare systems all around the country are being pushed to their limits.
Across the U.S., more than 5,000 deaths now reported from COVID-19, a startling surge from just 1 month ago when the virus had killed just one American. Vice President Mike Pence saying White House modeling suggests the situation in hard-hit Italy may be the most comparable area to the United States. And President Donald Trump underscoring the immediate threat.
Difficult days are ahead for our nation. We're going to have a couple of weeks starting pretty much now, but especially a few days from now, that are going to be horrific.
Some healthcare facilities in New York City, like Mount Sinai Hospital, pushed to the limits.
All these patients here sitting out in the hallways because we are full.
And now this field hospital set up in Central Park to treat the growing number of coronavirus patients. Stay-at-home orders in place there and in most other states, including Florida, where 2 Holland America cruise ships are off the coast awaiting clearance to dock. Between them, more than 200 passengers are reporting symptoms and 4 have died. The governor for now only committing to allowing Floridians on board into the state.
There's no time. These people need to get off the ship.
In Louisiana, urgent concerns as cases surge and nearly a third of hospitalized patients are now on ventilators.
If these numbers continue, we will be maxed out at hospitals and ventilators by the end of the weekend.
And in Connecticut, a devastating update. A 6-week-old baby, now the youngest known American to die of complications from the virus. Marcy Gonzalez, ABC News, Los Angeles.
And California is now closing in on 10,000 coronavirus cases. New numbers out today show the state with 9,500 cases and 206 deaths. In Los Angeles County, they are now up to 3,500 cases and 66 deaths. And as the numbers rise and leaders on the national and local levels plead with people to stay home, there's also growing talk of Americans wearing face shields anytime they have to be out. My co-anchor Kimberly Hunt is following that story from home. Kim.
Steve, this practice is already being carried out in Central Europe. And earlier this week, President Trump, along with the nation's top infectious doctor, Dr. Anthony Fauci, went as far as saying that it is under serious consideration right here in the U.S.
You can use something else over your face. It doesn't have to be a mask. But it's not a bad idea, at least for a period of time. I mean, eventually you're not going to want to do that. You're not going to have to do that. This is going to be gone.
Getting a much more broad community-wide use of masks outside of the healthcare setting is under very active discussion.
And tonight, LA's Mayor Eric Garcetti urged all Angelenos to wear protection of some kind over their face when they're out. The directive is targeted at those people who have to leave their house for essential reasons such as food shopping. And it's important to point out, he said residents shouldn't use medical grade masks, which are in short supply, and they're needed by our medical professionals. And it also doesn't change anything about the state's stay-at-home order.
But other coverings like this, which can be made of different materials, that we can wear in public, research shows even a bandana tucked in can have an effect of slowing down droplet spread.
And Governor Gavin Newsom said that he is not ready to do this statewide right now. He said his preference is the stay-at-home first and the social distancing that we've all been doing already. Both Newsom and Governor and Garcetti warn us that even if we did put something over our face, that does not make us immune from the virus. And also both of them echoed President Trump in saying this is not the time to let your guard down.
This is going to be a rough 2-week period. As a nation, we face a difficult few weeks as we approach that really important day when we're going to see things get better.
This idea was also mentioned today at the San Diego County News Conference. There was no directive that went out on a county level here in San Diego, but wearing a bandana was suggested as being a better alternative than wearing a face mask, which is much needed by our medical professionals here. Steve?
Kim, better to be safe than sorry. Thank you for that update.